Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this little stepper card. It's got just a tiny little step at the front there. I've also put inside here a little support which will stop the card from doing the splits when it's standing on the side. But I think this one is a bit too long, so that was 3 inches, so I'm going to do one today that's 2 inches long. The card was inspired by a card I received from Angela, a lady who comes to my classes. I received this from her and I thought it was just absolutely gorgeous. There should have been another reindeer here. I'm afraid he went walkabout somewhere in my office. But the card still looks gorgeous like this. This is the little stepper, and Angela's put her greeting on the inside there. But in the absence of any Stampin' Up products on here, it was a bit of a challenge getting my one sorted out, but I've succeeded. But it's a beautiful card, Angela. Many, many thanks. I love it. So to start off with, I'm going to tell you the card pieces we're going to need. First of all, a piece of our shimmery white cardstock, which measures 8.5 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 21 centimetres by 14.6 centimetres. And then a piece of Night of Navy cardstock, which measures 5 5/8 inches by 3 3/8 inches, which is 14.3 by 8.6 centimetres. And then a piece of designer series paper from the Floral Boutique series, and this measures 5.5 inches by 3 3/8 inches, which is 14 centimetres by 8.6 centimetres. And then 3 pieces of our Dazzling Diamonds Glimmer Paper. You need 1 piece that measures 5/8 of an inch by 5 3/4 inches, which is 1.6 by 14.6 centimetres. 1 piece that's 5 3/4 inches by 1 1/4 inch, which is 14.6 by 3.2 centimetres. 1 piece that's 5 3/4 inches by 1.5 inches, which is 14.6 by 3.8 centimetres. Then you need a piece of wild wasabi cardstock, which measures approximately 2.5 inches by 7 1/4 inches, which is 6.5 by 18.5 centimetres. Then you need a scrap of Dazzling Diamonds Glimmer Paper for the 2 stars. You need a piece of shimmery white cardstock about 2 inches by 1 inch, which is 5 centimetres by 2.5 centimetres, which is for the sentiment. And then you need some soft suede, which appears to have gone walkabouts. Bear with me while I get a piece. In fact, this is not going to be the correct size, but that doesn't look too bad actually. The soft suede should be 5 inches by 2 1/4 inches, which is 13 by 6 centimetres. And then a strip of Whisper White, which is approximately 1/2 inch by 2 inches, which is what we're going to use for our little support inside. If you don't want to do that support, then you can ignore this bit. But the 1/2 inch by 2 inches is 1 by 5 centimetres. So what we're going to do first is the stamping, and then the die cutting, and then we put the card together. Okay, so first of all we'll stamp the trees, and we need 5 of these, and I'm using the Peaceful Pines stamp set, which is a stamp set that was bought forward from last year, and I'm using this one, which is the smallest out of the 3 that comes in this set. And I'm going to use Wild Wasabi ink And what I found with this is to get the 5 trees in the best way possible is to stamp 1 and then turn your cardstock upside down and then get your next one on, turn it upside down again, and this is the best way to save your cardstock. It looks as if you could do it not quite as long as I've said, but you've got a little bit of extra room to spread yourself out there if you want. Now for the sentiment, this is coming from the Star of Light stamp set, and I am using the Light of Heaven, but I don't want those 3 dots there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some ordinary Scotch tape and I'm going to cover up the 3 dots. And I'm using Night of Navy ink. Ink my stamp. Then remove the tape. Pop this into the centre. There we go, no dots. If I left the dots on there, this wouldn't go through the oval die without having the edges cut. Right, so now I'm going to bring my Big Shot up. Right, okay. I've recently started using some new cutting mats and I'm trying to turn my mats over each time I use them, so 2 are labelled as A, which is going away from me, and then on the way back they've got B on them. So it's just a question of concentrating on what I'm doing to try and remember to do this. Now what I suggest you do is that you actually separate these for die cutting them. The reason I say that is if the cutting mats you're using are very, very worn, you might find that by running this sheet through each time you're cutting, you might find some of the scratches start coming through on here, and you really don't want that. So there's that. The die is from the Perfect Pines framelits. I've started storing mine in a folder, a ring binder type folder. Can you see the, yeah. And what I'm doing is I'm die cutting all the shapes, putting them on the back. And this one I've only just done. But what I'm doing is I'm labelling them like this, and then on here I'm putting the catalogue number and then times however many dies there are. So that's how many I expect to see on here. Right, so I'm using the smallest tree from here. There are 3. So that is here. I'm also going to die cut this one, which is from my Layering Ovals, which is this set, which is where you get a complete set of straight cuts and a complete set of scallop cuts, and these layer with each other brilliantly. And because they layer so closely, we have to put them in separate piles. So I number mine, starting with the smallest one, which comes in here. So that's number 1, that's number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so if I ever refer to a number 2, number 3, whatever, that's how I've done my counting. Right, so that's for my sentiment, and I don't know why, but this one keeps jumping. Whether it's because I've got a new mat, new cutting mat or not, I don't know. But rather than risk the risk of this going walkabouts, I'm going to put it in place. You can probably hear that I've got a cold. I feel okay. I sound worse than I am, but my brain is very fuzzy at the moment, so please bear with me. Right, there's 1 star, 2 stars. Anything else I need to do? Where's my card? Oh, the reindeer. Okay, let's bring that down. And what I'm doing with the reindeer, it's from the Merry Tags framelits. This is another one that's already prepared. This set, which is that set at the back there. I don't use Stampin' Up cardstock for this. I don't want to waste my good stuff. Right, so there's that. And I didn't tell you about these, did I? The stars. They come from the Starlight Thinlits. As you can see, that's not been transferred over yet. So, and the other thing I'm doing with this one is I found it better to use some wax paper. My wax paper, I've cut some pieces ready and I keep them in one of our boxes. So just pop that on there. And I think that should be everything. No, that's got to be A. Now on this one I'm just going to remove this sentiment and the tree. I'm going to do this one again and I'm going to do the stars again. So I'm going to pop another tree in here. In fact, if I wasn't doing a video, I would change this mat over as well. See, this is jumping as well. This is just so unusual. All I can imagine is because the plate is so new and so slippery, that's what's causing it. Right. Okay, let's bring that back, see what's happened. So I have my second tree. Looks as if did I? That's broken, so it looks as if I might have cut that a bit short, but it looks as if I've got everything there. Right, so I've got that and that, don't need that. And the stars, they've cut okay. This is the one. I think that looks as if it's cut okay. Only one way of finding out. Have I done all my die cutting now? I think I have, haven't I? So let's move this out of the way. I've already prepared all of my die cuts over there. I'm just showing you one of everything so that I can show you how I've done it all. Okay, so that's my tissue paper. Oh yeah, he's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my reindeer off there and there. Don't need that bit. I don't need that bit. Okay. I don't think I'll keep brown Christmas trees. Okay, so those and those. Do those later. That. Right. What do I do with the reindeer? This is what they should finish up looking like. Okay, so I've given them a face. I've got some glitter on their antlers, and I've given them hooves as well. As you can see, I got one facing that way and one facing that way. Also, as you know, the one that faces in the direction that it wasn't die cut has flat edges. Not sure if that's showing up. And that is the cut side, which is really nice and rounded and curved. So what I do to try and get this to look as close to that as possible, I use my bone folder and very carefully just flatten this down. It won't make it curved like the other one, but it will stop it looking so flat, shall we say. If you want to make the one that's going to be facing that one look as close to this, you can always flatten that one down as well. Okay, I only do it to this one. So there we go, that's that. I'm happy with that. So what I do is I just cut him off straight along here. I try and get as much on his feet as possible. If there's any bits left over, I just snip those off. Otherwise that looks okay. I mean, his legs do look a bit short, but overall I don't think it matters too much. Right, I want him to go this way because it's going to go with that one. Okay, so what I do, I just use my marker pen. This is my soft suede marker pen, and just draw a little line across there for his hooves. And then for his nose, again, the brush end, just a little round bit there. And then the eye, just a dot. It makes so much difference. And then I need to put glitter on him. I need to put glitter around the edge of that. And I also need to put glitter on the trees. Now, as I say, I've already done all my trees. I have done these a little bit different. On this one, I used my retired two-way glue pen. And as you can see, it's quite a thick line. And I just did straight lines across here. But on these trees, what I've done is I have used my fine tip glue pen, and I've been able to actually follow all of these lines, all the curves. and I think that looks much better. It was a lot easier to do it like that, so let me show you how I did that. I'll get my Dazzling Diamonds over. Make sure I have a pair of tweezers handy. Right, so this is my 2A glue pen, and I found this was just so easy to give a gentle squeeze, and then you might want to just get it started there, squeeze it onto your silicone mat, and then I just run this down. First of all, I do the outside line. I'd stick to the tree, I don't worry about the trunk. And then once I've done that, I just follow the curved lines. I mean, it doesn't take too long, but it would take a lot of time if I sat here and had to do all 5 trees, which is why I've done them beforehand. If you miss any little bits, or you turn a corner too sharp, like I'm doing frequently, just go back and put some more glue in the right place. Okay, so that's that. Then I just use my tweezers and then dip it in. Okay, smooth that out so I think you can see better on white. Nice sparkle. Now this one I haven't tried doing with my fine tip glue pen, so this is going to be interesting. I think just with a steady hand it should be fine. Again, I'm just drawing a line around here. I don't know if you can see from where you're viewing this, whether you can actually see the glue. But I can, which is making it quite easy just to follow around. Just hold that to do the last bit. There we go, so dip that in as well. Yep, that's worked beautifully as well. So the last bit of glitter that I need is for my reindeer's antlers, and just put a little bit on the tips of all 5 points, then just dip that in there. Okay, so let's put this away. And this, let's just wipe the top there, and then again with a nice steady hand put that away. Oops. So we have, I'll line these up over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trees, 2 reindeer, and 1 sentiment. Oh, and 2 stars. So I now build my card. So what I'm going to do first is my scoring. So I need these two pieces. This is just ordinary Whisper White. I didn't worry about making it the glimmer paper. So what you need to do with this, with your scoreboard, we are going to score at, first of all, 5/8 of an inch, which is 1.5 centimetres, and then 1 1/4 inches, which is 3 centimetres, and then 4 3/4 inches, which is 12 centimetres. And then for this piece, which is, I think I said 2 inches, didn't I? So that should be scored at 1/2 inch, 1 inch and 1 1/2 inches, which would be 1.25, 250 and 375 centimetres. So inches is 1/2, 1 and 1 1/2, or centimetres is 1.25, 2.50, 3.75. In fact, that looks as if that is a bit on the big side. Let's just measure that for 2 inches. Let's cut that off. Right, so that'll be fine. So we fold our card, fold that one down first, and then get a nice crease. And then this one we fold up, make sure your edges are lining up. And then this one folds down, so open that up so that you can get a nice crease on there as well. Okay, and then for this one it's just going to be valley, mountain, valley, or mountain, valley, mountain, whichever way. So you finish up with either an M or a W, whichever. I wonder if that's going to be a bit on the small side. No, I think that would be alright. It might be a bit fiddly doing it, but that'll be fine. Okay, so to adhere these to your card, the first piece, the thin piece, the more narrow piece, is going to be adhered there. And you can use your favourite type of adhesive. And as you know, mine is Tombow. If you find that this piece is wider than this, which can happen because just a fraction, make sure that you line the bottom of your glimmer paper up with the bottom here. So if anything, this top is over the top of your fold. It won't matter if it's peering over the top there. So that's that piece. You may find it easier to open it up to adhere onto. Okay. Looks as if mine is a tad too long, so I'm going to just trim that little piece off. If I can see my non-stick scissors. It really is just a tad there. But if you need to cut pieces off, always do it from the back of the card. They were so small I don't know where it's gone. never mind. So next we're going to put these two together. So first of all, put the spotty design onto here and just leave a little gap at the end here. Now what should happen is the top and the bottom should line up beautifully. Again, if it doesn't, just make sure the two at the top line up, and then this bit can be stuck inside the fold there, and it's not going to notice because it's going to be covered up with our Dazzling Diamonds Glimmer Paper Snowbanks. Okay, so we've got that bit. Just make sure I've got my top bit lining up properly. And then I'm going to adhere this into my card. Again, I'm going to have this nice and flat. Now there should be a little white edge on here, but no white at the top. Okay. And I have a tiny, tiny little white gap at the bottom here. Okay. So now for these two pieces, the sandbanks, for both of them, do them exactly the same. Now you need to tear them, the top piece, towards you. If you can get it started just with your fingers, that's fine. I can't, so I just cut a very small bit near the top there. And that is just enough to get me going. And then I just tear this, not going down too far, but just to give it some ups and downs. Oops, that wasn't, can I get started again? Oh yes. Okay, so that's alright. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. Get myself started at the top here. And again, ups and downs, but not too far down. So to adhere these together now, I'm not doing them so one is on top of the other. What I'm doing is I'm going to do it like that. So you'll find that it's going to be overlapping, but not, I'm not trying to line the bottoms up together, the bases together. So to make sure that this is going to work, what I do with my pencil at the ready, I put that where I think it's going to go, roughly, and then I sit this down at the bottom, but I make sure that that comes up, because I don't want to stick this in here and then find that I can't close it. So once I know that that is okay, then I put that in, making sure that I don't have any blue bits showing up here. And when I'm happy that that is where it's got to go, I just pull this down very slightly, and then well, there's a snowflake there, so what I'm going to do is pencil mark on that snowflake, and I know when I put this on here, I've got to cover that up. Okay? And when I do this, I do it from edge to edge. So it's going right from this edge to this edge. I'm not doing the end of the blue to the end of the blue. Okay, so I'm going to do my large piece first. And again, you can use whichever glue you prefer. I would certainly suggest something like Fast Fuse, I think. One of the reasons I've done it like this is because it is so much easier to get this glimmer paper to adhere to the card or paper rather than to itself. If you do it to itself, then it's best if you use glue dots. But then I'll be showing you that later with the stars. Now with the second piece, now I'm going to put that down to the bottom, line up this edge on the left, and then when that's in place I'm just going to fold so that I know I'm not sticking it too low down to stop that from closing. Okay, so again you probably finish up with a small gap there, and then again turn it over to see if you've got anything that's protruding from your card. Mine is, but that is so tiny, really not going to worry about that one. And then to put the trees on, right, what did I do? It was all glue dots. Okay. Right, what I'm going to do, I think, is probably 4 or 5 glue dots. I'm using my paper piercer. The trees will need glue dots to adhere them to the glimmer paper, but they don't need it to adhere to the spotty bit. Now you need glue dots on 3 of these. Oops, come back. These are just so amazingly sticky. It can't quite decide whether it wants to stick to the tree or me. Right, I'll stick these 3 down first. I'll bring this one in so you can see how I did it last time. Okay. So the first one was this one here. And I did that towards... I left a little gap from the top here and a tiny gap from here. Oops, got stuck to my arm there. And then this one I brought down like that. And then this one is about parallel with this one here. Do it a little bit lower, I think. Now we need to have 2 trees here. So I'm just going to put glue dots on the bottom. I think 2 would probably be enough. I can't remember what I did. Okay, so 1 on there, and then 1 on there. So that's going to be looking like that. Now that one was a bit better because I went off to the side. I wonder if this will let me move it. I doubt it because that's gone onto paper, hasn't it? No, don't try it. Maybe this one would let me move. Yep, here we go. So shall I move it over this way? Yep, that's fine. Just straighten up a bit. Not massively different, but that's fine. It will work. Now what I did with these, turn them over so I've got the back, and I again glue dots, and I rolled it up. What I want it to do is just go in between the front legs. I'll just pop this on and then I'll bring it up to show you. Hold on, let's do this properly. Okay, so that's above his legs. And then what else I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Tombow just on his bottom there. Okay. So Tombow. And then where I've got the Tombow, his bottom's going to go onto the tree. Okay, so what did I do? I've got the body to come up about there. There we go. Okay, so the glue dot for his legs is here, and that's where I've got his bottom. And the reason I've got them looking like this is they're looking up at the star and the light of heaven. Okay, so that's him. Let's do the next one. Roll this up. Get it into a little ball. Top of his front legs. And then a little bit of Tombow. Okay. There we go. I think they both look as if they're looking up at the star. So what I do with the star is I'm going to put this one on using part of a glue dimensional. Let's just cut a little bit from here. And then I'm going to take the backing off, and because this is going to be sticking onto the glimmer paper, I'm going to put a glue dot on there. Not that, that's tape. No, I will roll it. I think it will stick okay with a dimensional. I just don't want to take a chance. So I'm going to pop that in there. Now that will take a dimensional. Maybe not a whole one. So let's take that little piece off that we cut. There we go, that's that one. Look at, they're both looking at it, I think so. And then finally the sentiment. And that will definitely be 2 dimensionals. When I first started working on this for the video, I got somewhat carried away with it, and I finished up with a card that was just so busy. There's no way I would have been able to make a video of it without the video lasting about 2 hours. Right, now I'm just going to put this sentiment up here. Just make sure that's straight. Yep, that looks good. And then I just want to pop this piece here inside. Again, if you don't want this bit, you don't need to do it. And so I've just put Tombow on both sides. Oops. And I'm going to pop that there, whether I wanted it or not, because that's where the glue has gone. Pop that down, fold that down, and then that. And of course this will go in a normal size envelope. Just count up to 5 to allow Tombow to get a grip. And then we have today's card, which, let's see how that stands up. Oh yes, much happier with the way, the size of that in there. Much better, look at that. So that will definitely keep that a lot more upright. So there we go, there's today's card. I will show you the first card, but as I say, I did get carried away with myself and it is very busy. Okay, this was a die cut from, in fact I'll put all the details of this one on my blog just in case you want to do this. At least with this one you know exactly what to do. If I put the details on my blog about this one, if you wanted to do this you could. This was all non-Christmas stuff here. It was a camping outdoor adventure or something, but the details will be there. Many thanks for joining me today. In fact, let's bring that one in and let's bring Angela's in. Here we go. Okay, because that's the one that started all this off. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the box below or email me at janb@janbcard.com. I'm always very happy to help you. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured in my cards today, I'll put a link to my 24. I'll put a link in my shop in the box below. Just click on show more and the box will open and the link will be in there. You have to forgive me, my head is just so fuzzy today. So that's if you want to purchase anything. If you've enjoyed my video and you would like to see more, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button. And I will be putting all the measurements and the products that I've used with the product numbers on the screen. If you can't see that because of the device that you're watching this on, again click on the show more below and that will open up the box and all the details will be down there for you. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.